Welcome back to Urge. If you're new to the channel, please remember to hit like and subscribe. If you enjoy the video, it helps a ton. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the new Mordenkainen Tome of Foes. And should you buy it? Alright, let's get right into it. So this book is awesome. So far I love everything in it. Basically what it is the first half of the book is talking about lore. Now there's a few different subclasses and things, but the subclasses are a very small part of the whole story. It's mainly talking about the lore for the first half of the book, and the second half of the book is basically a monster manual. There are over 100 different monsters, and a lot of them are really cool. It reminds me of Volos. There's some really cool stuff in Volos too, but this has a lot more high-end level monsters, so you're talking more like CR 10 plus, which is really good because when you're looking at the regular monster manual, you have very limited monsters over 10 CR, and half of them are like dragons. So it's really good to have a lot more variety. Alright, so basically it starts off with chapter 1, which is the Blood War, which is basically the lore between the demons and the devils. And just goes through the history there with all of that. Talks about the different lords, or the archdevils and things. And then you get into the diabolic cults. It's basically each archdevil has their cults and the things that would go along with them, the people that they would give their packs to, things like that. So some character customization stuff here. And then you have the Cambions that you can customize as your DM. And then you have your Tiefling customizations and things with your, also your RP tables. And then it goes into the demons and all of the demon princes and Orcus and all of those, and the boons that go along with that, which is again more of a DM thing, because they're the ones that hand out the boons. And like I said, more customization tables. And then you get into the elves and just their history and everything that goes along with them, their different ways of life and how they go along with their culture and everything like that. And then you get into a little bit of the Feywild and the Eladrin, which I think is one of the coolest things in here. So you have, and then it talks about the Drow a little bit, the Raven Queen, but the Eladrin are awesome. They have the different changing seasons that fit their moods, which I think is really cool. And they have some tables that explain that, and then you have your Sea Elves. And then more tables for customization, RP stuff. And then you get into the Dwarves and the Duergar, talking about their lore, obviously, and everything that goes along with them, their clans, the Dwarves of the multiverse, talking about their different religions and deities. And then all of the Duergar here, and their deities. And then you get into the actual characteristics that you can customize and make the subclasses and everything. And again, more RP tables. And then you get into the Gith, which you have the Githyanki and the Githzerai. And just talks about their struggle and dilemma and everything with the endless war, their silver swords and everything. And then it gives you a little bit of a breakdown of each of them, and then you have the actual character customization here where you can make a Gith with the tables again for RP sake, and then you have the halflings and gnomes and their lack of conflict, basically things that go along, how they've had this mutual agreement and things like that, their different cultures and how they act, the different types, and their deities and things like that as well. And then you have your Deep Gnome characters for your customization here. It's a subclass, so you have a little bit of tables there. And then you get into the Bestiary, which is the other half of the book here. Lots of stuff here, so much. But I'll just flip through here a few of my favorite ones. Boneclaw I think is really interesting. I love the full page art too. It's really cool that they did this. Then you have your Demon Lords. Some big boys here, 26 CR. Demogorgon, big boys. All the different scary people that you would encounter. The Abyss. Which makes some very interesting encounters for a high-end campaign. And you have your Archdevils here. Here are the scary boys from the Nine Hells. The old school guy and the new school, with the art at least. And you got some of these too. And then these. Love the Eladrin. The art is awesome. I love how they can change in their season that they're in and their feelings and everything like that. It's really cool. And the fact that it's a playable character race makes it that much better. And you have the Elder Elementals here, which are really cool. And the Elemental Memorized. Obelix and the nice, oh, these guys are terrifying. It makes it really interesting for DMs and stuff because whenever someone enters the negative plane, it like basically spawns one of these things in the material plane, and just it's a whole ordeal. You can't just kill it because then it traps people, and you got to try to lure it back to the negative plane, and some craziness could happen there. And the Obelix, some more surprise campaign twists that you could throw in with some of those. These here, another. Oh, look at that! That's awesome. Getting into the Shadowfell here. This is what I'm talking about here. The Skull Lords. And then the Sorrowsworn, these are what I was talking about here. The angry, the hungry, the lonely, the lost, the wretched. You can do some really cool Shadowfell campaign stuff here. And the thing is, these are all neutral, like neutral evil. So you could maybe try to, if you're lucky, maybe one of these lost guys will help you around, show you the way. Although, that's probably not the best idea since they are lost. And then Starspawn, oh man, these guys look awesome. They're Doom Callers, Heralds of Doom from the Outer Planes, basically servants of the Elder Evils. And then the Trolls here, these are really cool. This is the Dire Troll. Basically, you can graft on other pieces of Trolls because they both have regeneration traits. So they're kind of like cannibals that attach on other parts so they can rip off, you know, an armor of a Troll, and then they get cut, and then they graft it onto their own bodies. It's really interesting. Then you have some more varieties for Trolls here because who doesn't love some troll action? And this guy's really cool too, the Marinoth. Now he has lair actions, which is really cool because whatever ship he's captaining becomes his lair. And he's basically one of the ferrymen on the River Styx, so you can do some really interesting storyline stuff with that. But there's a lot of really interesting monsters in here that are higher level, which I think is going to be a lot of fun to throw at players. But essentially, this book is primarily for DMs. So if you're a player and you're looking at getting Warren cans, you're basically just going to be getting subclass options and some lore, and the lore may not even tie technically to your campaign. If your campaign is set in a place that's completely created by the DM, then your pantheon and everything could be different, and the lore could be different for the world as well. So depending on what world or campaign you're playing in, it may or may not be relevant for the lore, but also too, you have to remember, if you're a player, you don't want to metagame or whatever, so you don't want to know stuff that your character wouldn't. So if you did get this, maybe you just read, and you're like, say you're a gnome, alright, and your DM's like, yeah, the lore in here about the gnomes and halflings is what is going to be happening in our world. So you're like, alright, cool. So you get the book, and you read up on the gnome and halfling lore because your character's a gnome or whatever, and your character would know that. But, I mean, some people can read all this lore about different races and stuff that they wouldn't know and not metagame, but if you're someone who struggles with trying not to metagame because you don't want to like cheat, then you may or may not be interested in this book. If you just want it just because it's cool and you want to look at all the monsters, then yeah, definitely get it because these monsters are awesome. But again, this is basically like a Volos, so if you got Volos, you would probably really like this, although there's less class options and stuff in here than there was in Volos. This is much more dedicated to lore and monsters. There's just a few subclass things added in there, but it's not majorly important to characters for players. It's going to be a lot of helpful information for DMs, especially if you have a campaign that falls and relates to the demons and devils in the Blood War, or to the halfling and gnomes, or to you have a really strong elven campaign or a really strong dwarven influence campaign. This is going to be very, very helpful and knowledgeable for you. Otherwise, as a player, I don't know that I can justify it for you. But overall, love this. It reminds me a lot of Volos, but it has a lot of monsters in it, a lot more lore. It's definitely tailored towards Dungeon Masters, but I really enjoy it, being a DM. But if you are a DM and you're looking for some new, bigger end monsters, or even some more interesting, smaller monsters, this is going to be awesome for you, especially if you're looking, again, like I said, about the lore is super helpful. A lot of people get confused about the demons and devils things, and it really explains it here. So if you kind of get confused about that sometimes, this is a really good explanation of that conflict and everything between them. If you're a DM, definitely get it. If you're a player, you could get it, but I would talk to your DM first and see how well it's going to tie into your campaign. If it ties a lot into your campaign or your character, then it could be very well worth getting, just for the lore side of it. Otherwise, you might just be able to borrow it from your DM and just kind of read over some sections. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you feel like it should have more player stuff in it? Are you okay with just having these really cool monsters in it? What did you think about the lore sections? I really love those, and the really higher end monsters. So let me know what you think about the book, and as always, thanks for watching.